Headlines with Dion Jackson Miller.
We're back with you. We continue with you on Beyond the Headlines. I'm Dion Jackson Miller. Look, a long time we're talking about this teaching council bill. Years, in fact, right? The bill, in fact, was first tabled in the House of Representatives about 3 years ago. And that was after 3 years of review through a joint select committee of parliament. Now, this bill is going to set up, or supposed to set up, what's called a Jamaica Teaching Council, and the council is going to regulate the profession and issue licenses. And teachers, of course, wouldn't be the first profession to be regulated and licensed in this way. The lawyers are regulated through the General Legal Council, doctors through the Medical Council, nurses, pharmacists, and so on. But there's been a lot of controversy about some of the provisions of this particular bill. Some people feel that it seeks to undermine the work of the teachers. Others argue that it's necessary to improve the profession. Now, Government Senator Marlon Morgan said the legislation is supposed to support teachers, not victimize them.
Teaching is as esteemed and important to nation building and national development as is medicine, law, engineering, and architecture. Mr. President, while there is a clear thrust and a framework prioritizing teacher accountability, the Jamaica Teaching Council as a secretariat, as is the bill before us this afternoon, is about support, capacity building, and development, not intimidation, not the oppression of our teachers, not the victimization of our teachers, not marginalization of our teachers, or indeed the recrimination of teachers.
Now, opposition Senator Damian Crawford, who is also the opposition spokesperson on education, is in supporting the bill. He said it seeks to punish teachers for the crisis in education.
We are concerned that in general, the bill seems more punitive than supportive. Yeah. Punitive means focus on punishment rather than on support. What are some of the basic reasons we suggest that it is more punitive than supportive? Heavy fines and even imprisonment for unlicensed teaching. We'll get further into that a little bit later. Up to 1.5 million or 12 months in jail. There are way more dangerous activities that don't carry such a fine, including dangerous driving. Vague criteria such as competent to teach and fit and proper have not been defined. No guaranteed legal aid for teachers under investigation, etc. There's also no built-in access to the continuous professional development. While it is requested, I see nothing in the bill that suggests how it would be paid for. No emphasis on mentorship, and teachers must basically prove their worth repeatedly. Therefore, the Act, I believe, doesn't sufficiently support good teachers.
All right, listening there to opposition Senator Damian Crawford, before him Government Senator Marlon Morgan. They were talking in the Senate where the bill passed on Friday. It's now going to go to the House of Representatives. And we are joined now by Stuart Jacobs, who is president of the National Parent-Teacher Association of Jamaica. We also have with us Lynburn Wright, who is president of the Jamaica Association of Principals of Secondary Schools. Gentlemen, always a pleasure. Thank you both so much for talking to us.
Good evening, Dion. Good evening, Stuart. Pleasure being here, John. I'm good.
Great to have you both on. Mr. Wright, why, I mean, we'll get into the specific details later, but why does this one seem to have been so contentious?
I don't know, because if you listen to my pronouncements prior to, I really think that this is something that we ought to go ahead with. I don't necessarily think that it is going to improve teaching in the way it's being said, but I have no issues with the regulation and the way much of it is done. I know you say you're going to get into specifics, but I guess when I get into that, we can do it. But on the face of it, very little issues for me.
Okay. And the same for you, Mr. Jacobs?
Yes, the very same. I think the bill has a far-reaching value-added effect. It will have a far value-added effect on the teaching profession and, by extension, our students. And our parents will feel comfortable that the persons teaching us, our children, are going to be what it is. What I like about it also, Dan, is that the creation of the public registry establishes a centralized, publicly accessible registry and licensed teachers in Jamaica. Additionally, the tracking of professional development, and it implements a system to monitor and record professional development activities and to continue education undertaken by teachers. And to expound a bit, maintain active licensure, which requires teachers to complete ongoing professional development to maintain the active status of their teaching license. Transparency and accountability is also taken in, where it enhances transparency in the teaching profession, allowing stakeholders, parents, schools, etc., to verify teacher credentials. And I want to go further, where support of professional growth, which is so important in any profession, it encourages teachers to engage in lifelong learning and professional growth through mandated development activities. And what caps it off for us is that the quality assurance, it aims to elevate the standards of education by ensuring that all practicing teachers meet established professional criteria. And when one looks at the practicing report, it covers all 365 of the practicing report. And I'm very, very pleased to have been a part of the process 6 years ago, where the NPTAJ, we presented to the joint sitting, asking for teachers to be standardized, and also the very same thing in the Act here, where they're constantly being licensed and updated license, like all of professions are. And I'm very happy to have been someone who sat in the well last week Friday on invitation of the minister, where I sat and witnessed the debate and the actual passing of it. But it has
sorry, hold on 1 second for me. We'll come to that and the drawbacks as well, and come back to Mr. Wright as well. But let me just take the break. We continue with you on Beyond the Headlines. I'm Dion Jacks Miller. We're talking about the Jamaica Teaching Council bill that is now before the Parliament. Let me just give you an idea of what is in a couple of the sections. For instance, it speaks about how would you qualify to be granted a license, as a teacher's license under the Act. It says you would be eligible if the teaching council is satisfied that you're a fit and proper person to teach, that you're competent to teach, and that unless you're just qualified, that you've complied, you've maintained the professional standards of the profession, you've done your continuing professional development programs, you have currency in practice of at least 3 consecutive years of teaching. And give you an example what they mean when they're talking about fit and proper. They set out that in the schedule, in the 4th schedule, and it speaks about things like whether or not you have a criminal record, but also what has happened in your life subsequent to that particular criminal record. And well, that's just to give you an idea of some of the provisions. We still have with us Stuart Jacobs, President of the National Parent-Teacher Association, Linvern Wright, President of the Jamaica Association of Principals of Secondary Schools. So, Mr. Wright, let me come back to you. You said you do have some specific issues. What are those?
Well, the caution I have, Dion, is I think there's a kind of gung-ho response to suggest that it may resolve so many of the issues, and I don't think it can do. I think it's complementary to many other things happening. So, for example, if we're talking about professional development, in our education system now, the technological support is very weak. So, for example, while there might be some computers, software availability to teachers to actually access many of those things that would assist learning, not there. Financial support is weak. We have been working for the last so many years, for example, in the secondary system with the same amount of money, $17,500, to support children in particular things that will happen to them. We still have a problem with what we think are political appointments, because we're talking about quality. Morale could be affected by things like that. Infrastructural inadequacies. There are so many schools with the conditions under which teachers are working and principals are working. All of those things are problematic. So, regulating at a legal level and bringing some kind of standard to the system in that regard is fine for me. But what I want to know is that this is complementary to some other things happening. And I would love the same level of enthusiasm from the politicians in discussing these things. that there's going to be a same level of enthusiasm and say, okay, what is adequate funding for education? What would we consider to be adequate resources to actually help our people to move to where they are supposed to be? What do we consider to be the kind of appointments that are going to be giving some dignity to how a principal operates or how a teacher operates? So certainly we're holding principals and teachers to account, but I think we must hold the rest of society to account for actually supporting in the way we want. And finally, when we look at for example, professional development support, professional development support calls for a kind of a serious, diagnosis of the problem, targeting what it is that we need. I do not think that we have been very good at doing that. And so much of the quality that we talk about it is because some of these kinds of complementary infrastructure that I talk about that are necessary, that are not there, why we still continue to have the issues. So I welcome it, but I think there are other things that need to go hand in hand for it to be effective and give us the kind of quality that we're seeking to have in education.
And for you, Mr. Jacobs?
I agree with Linburn. There has to be an alignment of other areas of the education sector that will enable that it works. For example, it might be a potential drawback of the administrative burden, as it may impose additional administrative work on teachers and the council to track and document professional development hours and requirements. Then there's access to resources. Not all teachers may have equal access to continuing education opportunities or resources. Potential disadvantage some individuals, which would be so unfortunate. And then there's a cost of professional development. And if you're going to develop yourself, you need more financial constraints may prevent some teachers from participating in necessary professional development activities, and thus affecting their licensure status. And then there is the human side of it, which is the resistance to change. Some educators may resist new regulations and accountability measures, creating challenges in the implementation and the compliance. And then there's privacy concerns. We have to always be mindful of that. The public nature of the registry may raise privacy issues regarding personal information shared about teachers. Then we look at section 10, subsection 2. It speaks of the standards. We have to ensure that the standards that we're asking for, as Linda was saying, that the other areas that needs to ensure that the teachers get the standards, it is there. Because when one looks at the act, it has to be one, as I said earlier, adding value. And one of the values that has to be added is teacher retention. As we are in section 24, subsection 1, the license and so on. Will it do it on subsection 28, section 1, where you have a performance-based plan? Will that plan be able to have teachers be qualified and they are compensated based on these qualifications that will keep them in the classroom and not go elsewhere? So the act has to be one where teachers are compensated. They are not necessarily being put under a microscope to do their jobs on a daily basis. This is teaching our children, education our nation. But they too understand that there's a consequence, but we must not put in place punitive measures expecting people to break it. They're supposed to be placed there where it's preventative. While it's preventative, the act has to be one that encourages our teachers to stay in the classroom and not leave. So that is the biggest problem right now that us parents and the MPTJ by extension has right now. It's our greatest fear that our teachers, good teachers, are leaving. So whatever the Teaching Council Act we will do, I'm hoping for God's sake that for provisions that are there, and I think they are there, but it's to now implement them.
Isn't that
They
though?
work.
Isn't that though asking a little too much from this particular act? I mean, isn't the whole purpose of this law to try to just bring some standardization and what should I say? Yes, standardize the profession in
Yes,
terms of who
yes.
is there, who is qualified, ensure that people do, as you, for instance, the ongoing professional development. And when you speak, for instance, about difficulty accessing professional development, I mean, that's something that comes with legislation. I mean, once
Yes,
it's a
it does.
requirement, providers will turn up.
Yes, yes, I agree. But at the same time, we have to be always mindful, and we can't help it, but to be mindful of some of the clear and present issues that we have. So whenever an act or anything that comes into the education system, we try our best to see how we can channel it to the issues that we have as a source of fixing a solution, of a solution to it. So that's taken. Yes.
You think the concerns, I think it was Mr. Wright, was it raising concerns about the level of fines? Or are those...
No, I didn't hear that. No, but I could speak to that. One of the things I looked at, and we just have to be fair. I am not disregarding any concerns, any of my colleagues may have. But as far as I have read in the bill, there are 2 or 3 opportunities for persons to make amends where this is concerned. So if it is that the council sees that you are practicing without, you get a notice of 21 days. There's a second notice of 21 days. What I'm seeing is that it is after that, if it is that you go beyond that, they're going to fine you. I don't know that I don't have an issue with that. The other thing is that if it is that you're practicing fraudulently, if you go ahead and you're practicing fraudulently, you know that you're not eligible and you're going to go ahead knowingly to do it. I mean, and maybe at a personal level, I just don't have problems with fines because if you know, and you really go there, the amount maybe doesn't matter to me. Maybe in legal circles, people figure that this is a difficult thing. But as far as I see in the bill, I think that the amount of notice that is given are 21 days and another 21 days, and then if you breach, you're fine. You've got enough warning. So I am not seeing that as a huge
Not an issue for you.
People think.
Right. I know we're going to have to continue all these conversations. Other stakeholders to hear from as well. Can I thank both you gentlemen? We appreciate your time and your thoughts.
Bless you, Dion. Thank you so much. Good.
All right.
Thank you.
Always good talking to you both. Stuart Jacobs is
Take it easy.
President of the National Parent Teacher Association of Jamaica. Lynburn Wright is President of the Jamaica Association of Principals of Secondary Schools, talking to us about the Teaching Council Bill now before Parliament. Remember, we want to hear from you on it as well. 2540693. Give us your first name, your general location. Soon come.
8 families are homeless after fire ripped through their houses in a mid-morning blaze at the intersection of Charles Street and Luke Lane in downtown Kingston. Among those displaced are 4 children and 12 adults. There were no reported injuries as a result of the blaze, which started around 8:30. Deputy Commissioner in charge of operations for the Jamaica Fire Brigade, Warren Malcolm, told Radio Jamaica News that the department was alerted to the blaze about 8:54. But one resident, Annette Wright, who lost her home, claims the fire department was swiftly informed, but there was no truck to respond immediately.
Man, I'll drive, go up there, go and call the water, the fire people them, and I know that when them come, them say away from St. Thomas, one of the unit I come from. The man will drive, go up there, say them not have no unit up there, and when one come, no water, a 4-bedroom, and a living room and 2 bathroom and kitchen and veranda. Everything my lose, as I can see. My furniture them can't lift up because I'm like an idiot furniture. I have some big power furniture I have. I have to just stand up and just a ball and I watch them a bun. I mean a ball like through the things I'm a bun. I just my situation. I mean I have nowhere to go. If I go catch with people and them something at my age. Now make it. I'm upset about the fire truck. I'm upset about the government. They have to do something better. Can you see all one time all half an hour? My house not catch all now. I just over this alone.
Fire victim Annette Wright, Deputy Commissioner Malcolm told Radio Jamaica News that the units from Trenchtown, Rollington Town and Yorktown battled the blaze. With human rights lobbyists preparing to take to the streets tomorrow to denounce police impunity, Government Senator Marlon Morgan has come out in support of law enforcement. Senator Morgan is calling for the public to wear blue tomorrow to stand in solidarity with the police in what appears to be a counter to the planned protest by Jamaicans for Justice. Noting the 36.6% reduction in murders up to April 26 this year when compared with the corresponding period last year, he contends that the planned protest seeks to undermine the efforts and gains of law enforcement.
There can be no denying that our police men and women work under very tough and trying circumstances. The efforts and energies of all well-thinking and law-abiding Jamaicans should be focused on supporting and encouraging our hard-working policemen and women, not tearing them down. It is quite heartening and should not be overlooked that a culture of accountability is increasingly being fostered by the JCF, and professionalism is being prioritized through ongoing human rights training and sensitization.
Government Senator Marlon Morgan. The JFJ-led event dubbed End Police Violence will take place at the Halfway Tree Transport Centre and aims to spotlight the increasing number of police fatal shootings in Jamaica and demand accountability, justice and systemic reform. As of April 28, 106 people have been killed in reported confrontations with the police. The government is looking to expand the Smart Energy Grant to include private sector pensioners. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness made the disclosure while addressing the recent groundbreaking ceremony for the Brookside Estate housing development in Spot Valley, St. James. Under the initiative implemented last year, public sector pensioners can access funds through the National Housing Trust to install energy-saving solar systems in their homes.
We are giving what is called the Smart Energy Grant, which offers up to $1.5 million for pensioners to install solar panels. And already 280 households have benefited from this grant.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. He says sustainable housing solutions are central to Jamaica's climate resilience agenda, and future developments will incorporate green building standards, solar energy, and environmentally friendly infrastructure to ensure communities are resilient and energy efficient. Now, the prosecution in the murder trial of Constable Maitland is to make 3 special measures applications tomorrow. Constable Maitland is charged with the 2022 murder of his girlfriend, social media influencer Donnelly Donaldson. When the matter was called up today, Deputy Director of Public Prosecutions Claudette Thompson informed Justice Leighton Pusey that the Crown wished to make the applications before proceeding, as the decision will inform whether the trial can begin. She told the court that the Crown is relying on circumstantial evidence and that every witness's evidence carries the same weight. One of Maitland's attorneys, Christopher Townsend, told the court that the legal team, which had already been served with documents related to the applications, needed more time to respond and asked for the applications to be made tomorrow. There are 18 witnesses on the indictment. The applications will determine if the trial, which was scheduled to begin today in the Home Circuit Court, will get underway. Maitland was further remanded. He is charged with murder and preventing the lawful burial of a corpse. Ms. Donaldson went missing July 13, 2022, after she was last seen at Constable Maitland's home 2 days earlier. Her body has not been recovered.
Owen, go ahead for me.
Hello, good evening, Leon. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Okay, I just have 2 things I'd like to touch on for now. The first one is that protest. Well, not protest. That thing that JFJ is gonna do tomorrow. It is at the transport center up in Halfway Tree. I don't know if it's out of line to bring to the attention of the nation, right? That there are 106 police killings since the start of the year, right? Today is the 28th, and that's what I heard on the news today. I believe that somewhere along the lines, somebody got to look into this thing at another level, because I mean, it's hard to believe that all of these things that the police say has happened as the way they did. Because I remember hearing the head of Indicom saying that at some time before, 20% of the ones that they have investigated needed further looking into, and 80% were said to be, well, what they call a good shoot, put it that way, right? So I think we should really look into it and don't just throw it out and say, oh, it's our criminals that were shot and the circumstances warranted it. That's just my view on it.
Well, I mean, I think the issue is one that certainly warrants conversation, you know.
Right.
The suggestion that, oh, nobody should raise the issue because crime is down, I think is ludicrous.
Right, that's it. Okay, all right. The other thing I want to mention is last week, a big debate about Mr. Asafa Powell and his interview, right? I agree that Asafa has the right to decide what his children do in their life up to when they, you know, as far as when they become to adulthood. But I think that's a far way off for now. So let's leave that at it is. For himself now, I would really like to know what has Jamaica not done for Asafa that he's upset about. That is what I would like to know.
Well, he explained, though. He said that the support system is inadequate. He said the country, there's no payment system to athletes to run. And he thinks if there isn't a better support system, he doesn't want his kids running for Jamaica.
But Dion, Asafa is one of our best athletes, right? He has achieved what no other athlete have achieved in Jamaica. 97 sub-10 100-meter runs. 97, you know. I mean, so what about all of those other people who have contributed to athletics, track and field in Jamaica? Did the system help them and not help Asafa?
I think he's making a general statement about the system, but having been through it himself, he's saying based on his personal experience, this is what he believes.
Yeah, but okay. I would ask, what has the system done for Dion Hemmings in her career? The 400-meter hurdler who won gold, and all of those, Nesta Carter, the females on the other side, Veronica Campbell, as she was then coming up. I mean, I don't know.
A lot of those people you mentioned, and at least some of them, do feel that more should have been done for them, you know. The fact that Asafa is the one speaking out and catching fire doesn't mean that the other athletes don't agree with him. So let me ask you this then. Is it that is upbringing in the whole system coming up, right, that contributed to him being spotted by whoever and raised up? There's just one aspect of it that I would probably tend to agree with him on, and I think it is that area that would deal with his mental acumen, his mental faculties, right? And I mean, we have seen it where he hasn't performed in the big events, right, as he should, like say at the Olympics, and a couple of days after he goes and he breaks the world record. I mean, I don't know. I think that's the only area that I would say he didn't get that thing of the mental coaching, the sports psychologist. No, but he's quite clear that he thinks he should have benefited more. That he. Well, let me rephrase
monetary?
Of course. But he said it. He said it's
running
business.
For his country. Which other athlete has benefited running for his country?
No, but you see, you are singling him out in the Jamaica. Hold on, you're singling
behaving like that.
You're singling him out in the Jamaican context, and it goes back to what I'm saying. You're assuming that he's the only one who thinks like that, and I'm saying he's not.
Well, nobody has spoke about it. That's why I can only talk about him.
Yeah, but the fact that, as I keep saying, the fact that he's the one catching fire because he decided to come out and talk doesn't mean the others don't agree. Whole heap of them agree. People do not speak out in the Jamaican context.
I have to hear them speak out to be able to judge that.
Okay.
He's the only one that has come out this way.
Over the years, that is not true at all.
Look at the net ballers. Look at the net ballers.
And they also have said they don't get enough support.
Well, that's it. So where is the support supposed to come from?
What do you mean?
I am saying, whenever any of our athletes or whoever perform, right, the country cheers them, so I understand. But they have been helped to get to where they are to be able to go on the international field. I mean,
They have been helped.
Australia.
They have been helped how?
England.
They have been helped how?
The facilities that they come through, right?
Which facilities? Because bear in mind, right now, schools even have it's all past students a lot of times pay for coaches,
I understand that.
So this idea people have said, it's government money coaching people. A lot of the times there's no money going to schools for pay for no coach,
I know that. But Dion, I'm just saying, well, I don't know if the government is going to be able to put in the kind of funds that it would require, right?
But we don't know what it would require because I don't know that there is any kind of policy or plan in place, which is what you need. What can we do? What can we not do? What is reasonable to be done? We like to sit down and say we can't do things when it seems to me we spend money on all kind of things we want to spend money on.
All right. Let me just end with this. Take for instance that system that operated at the championships, right? The boys and girls champs, right? To this date, we haven't heard anything about what transpired with all of those false starts. That is the area that I think that we need to put pressure on the authorities, the J3s and so on, to come up with things. Those are some of the areas that we need to correct. Yeah. But I don't believe in the disrespect that Asafa says he's been getting, because I don't know one Jamaican who has disrespected Asafa.
You have got to be kidding. You need to look at some of the comments online and how nasty and disgusting people are. And it's not just online. People are hell for cuss him and saying for go and all kind of tracing, and you seriously. Yes, he gets a lot of love and respect, but he also gets a lot of cussing, and part of the reason is that he speaks out and says what he likes and what he doesn't like. I forgot to the break, though. You hear?
Okay.
Appreciate the call as always. We'll talk again. Okay. All right. Remember our numbers 733-2481 and 2, and our WhatsApp line 876-254-0693. Give us your first name, your general location. We'll soon come.
What makes a burrito bond so attractive?
We have a history of strong financial performance and growth, demonstrating resilience.
Our leverage remains low relative to our peers.
The bond is available in both Jamaican and US dollars, ranging from tenures between 2 to 10 years at attractive interest rates. Plus, it's expected to be listed, which will enhance liquidity for all investors.
Burrito bonds are burrito strong. Download our prospectus, call a burrito advisor, and invest today.
Every dollar counts, and you can invest no matter how small. BPM Financial is there to show you just how. Tune in every Thursday at 11:45 a.m. during the hotline for Money Talk. Learn how to make wise investment decisions for the best returns. Let's talk about money management and more on Money Talk. Brought to you by BPM Financial Limited, taking you higher. Money Talk, Thursday mornings at 11:45.
Clear your barrels and personal shipments with ease and convenience. Request a customs contactless clearance today through CCP at jca.gov.jm. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is
7:15.
Dreaming of a
I'm
career
Joy Kelly with JIS Evening.
You're listening to Beyond the Headlines with Dion Jackson Miller.
Thank you so much for staying with us. We continue with you on Beyond the Headlines. I'm Dion Jackson Miller. Our WhatsApp line 876-254-0693. Solomon in Kingston asking why I'm spending so much time talking with my listener, because he wanted to talk to me and he called. Solomon, if you want to call, I'll talk to you as well. Metro Online in Portmore. Go ahead, Metro. What's up?
Yes, I'm Dion.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I don't agree with the utterance of Asafa Powell.
That's okay.
Meaning that Asafa took the decision to become an athlete. What about a primary school teacher that has day in, day out has 40 students in front of him or her in a very hot classroom? That teacher supposed to get special treatment as a Asafa talk about money and monetary?
You know, it's time we look. All these different categories of people are important, but people do not all get paid at the same rate. That's just the reality. A doctor does not get paid at the same rate as a nurse, at the same rate as an engineer. Different professions carry different pay rates. So just so it go. So this idea that every time somebody in a particular area says, oh, I need to get more, and you say, oh, but what about the this and what about the that? Life is simply set up in a different way. Different professions get paid at different rates.
But shouldn't we place a value on what that individual brings to the society?
We place a value on what everybody brings to the society, but that doesn't mean everybody gets paid at the same rate.
No, I'm not saying that, but if we're going to think about people that are athletes, and we single them out and we say, well, they should get this and they should get that, and the system that. Remember, we're a very poor country now. We don't have the money can spread around.
We spend a whole lot of money on a whole lot of things, all right? My thing is, why don't we sit down and put together a proper development plan and we see what we can and we cannot do. All we want to do is walk up and down Olympic time and World Champs time and knock pot cover. And then when the athletes say we need more, we start cost them.
I am not saying that the athlete mustn't get more, but what I'm saying, we have to prioritize and the money that we have to do, we spend it.
Yes, and different people have different ideas as to what we should prioritize. And in my view, athletes deserve some amount of prioritization.
Let us dig the call of the school and spend the money, all of the money then for the athletes, then since that's where we want to go.
Well, if that's the attitude you're going to take, let's lock down every other area of society. Let's lock down the art galleries. Let's lock down the entertainment venues. Let's lock down everything. You have different areas of life that you spend money on.
Asafa has made a lot of money out of his endeavor now. I don't think that Asafa should be the one complaining. They have other athletes that don't get the chance and don't make it. And like Asafa shouldn't be the one complaining.
Why not? Why not? What he's saying is that yes, he made money in his professional career. He said if he ran for somewhere else, he would have made more. Why he can't say that?
Run for somewhere is the choice he made.
Yes, and he now says he wishes he had not made that choice. It is his prerogative so to do.
You're supposed to be man enough that you make a choice. And you make the choice and stop complaining.
And he is saying that he is going to ensure that what he regards as a mistake he made is not repeated for his children. What are you man for?
No, you don't need to come out and tell him.
Why not?
I'm talking to children and tell them what they must do and what they mustn't do.
So why can't he say that publicly? Why don't you say the man can't talk and talk?
Suffering in this country, and them have children and tell them children say, boy, none of you go in the profession, even if you go in the profession, leave Jamaica. What the country would be like?
What do you mean? Whole heap of people tell left kids that every single day. Why you think we have so much people that migrate?
What I don't.
Every day, people want their children to do better, and them send them abroad to do better. Why not cuss Asafa because he's doing this? He says he's gonna do the same thing.
No, I don't think Asafa is supposed to come out and
why not?
And talk in them type.
Why
of
not?
The country.
Why not?
What Asafa want the country to do?
But he said it.
Give him some more money.
Yes.
After he has made so much money individually.
So therefore, if we have certain kinds of professionals who are making more money, they mustn't ask for more if they want more.
It's a choice you make to do what you do.
And that applies to every single profession. That doesn't mean...
You expect the government must take up tax.
Yes, you can.
When you decide to stay around, you have to run.
Yes, you can. Because the very same argument you are making suggests that if a teacher in a classroom wants more money, they mustn't say anything because they made the choice to go and teach.
I would prefer a teacher come out and say that more than a man that do look running, you know.
Yes, because the only time in the business with athlete are when you see them a run and I get gold medal and then everybody a make up noise, yeah, and I walk up and down and dress themselves in a Jamaican flag. But in between, when people are saying we want help, on cost them.
Yeah, and if you know me, you know if you know me good, you don't realize I'm not that type of man.
To what?
I don't walk up and down.
You don't cheer at Olympics time.
I feel good when they win a race, but I'm not going to go overboard. Like how some people are beat Pat cover and a black road and all them things. I'm not into that.
Okay. So it's not a priority for you, so therefore you don't think it's important?
It is important, of course.
But if it's important, then why you cuss the man?
No, I'm not cussing a man. But so is a teacher important to me, and so is a doctor important to me, and so is the man that pick up my garbage important to me.
Okay.
That's the type of individual I am, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're saying that to say what?
I don't get emotional attached to anything such as them things, you know.
Well, there are very, very many people who do, and I'm saying along with
them emotional and enslaved, man.
No, I think that sports like other types of cultural and entertainment events is something that carries a lot of meaning and makes a lot of people very, very happy. And I'm saying that attached to that can be tangible benefits apart from knocking pot cover.
I respect the athletes and I like when they do well for the country. But I am not going overboard and believe that the government must use taxpayers' money and give them extra when we have so many people. When I look at the men that come to my community and pick up my garbage, when I look at them, I have to say to myself, boy, I don't know if I could do a job like that, you know. I wouldn't do a job like that. If no, don't care how much money they pay me, I wouldn't do a job like that. And those men not get, they're not getting no recognition and nothing at all. You're talking about a man that makes millions of dollars, which is supposed to give more money. What we're talking about?
Yes, but the man has every right to say my value. He has a right to value his services and value his talent and say that he was not compensated enough. That's his right.
We shouldn't be discussing this.
Why shouldn't we discuss this? Why shouldn't we discuss this?
Waste time, man. Wasting time there.
Well, that's in your view because, as I say, sports is not something that clearly carries a great deal of meaning for you, and that's fine.
I love sports, you know. I used to play cricket.
But they mustn't live. They mustn't live well.
Of course, they must live well.
You don't see it as a service to the country.
Yes. But we have to put it into context of what the country can afford.
And I am saying to you, we don't know what we can afford because we have never sat down and seriously looked at the issue.
What other people in the country are earning and how they are living.
And I am saying to you, and I'm saying a million times, that different levels of remuneration attached to different levels of service and talent. And it is naive and ridiculous to suggest otherwise. Everybody clearly should be able to make a living and live comfortably. But it is ridiculous to suggest that everybody is going to be paid at the same rate. That's not how the world runs.
No, I'm not suggesting that, Diane. I am not suggesting that. But I'm saying to you that when you look at a man like Asaf and some of these athletes, when they perform and when the government takes up millions of dollars and gives to them, while other people are struggling, to even buy food. You ever go to the supermarket and see someone who old lady I buy something and never put back all bread and all them something and can't buy it?
What's the point you're making?
The point I'm making that so many people in this country are suffering, can't buy food.
So let us
And
not
a
let
man
us
that
not
has
pay.
made millions,
Let
a man
us
that has made
yes.
millions
So
of
let us
dollars.
not pay the doctors and the lawyers so that we can ensure that we pay the little lady in the supermarket more.
But the government shall give more money when thousands of people
And it is his right so to do.
going to them bed hungry.
It is his right so to do.
Them can't afford the basic thing, food.
You are equating two things that need not be equated. We can enact social welfare programs while putting in place developmental programs for athletes. You seem to be suggesting it's a zero-sum game and it's one or the other, and I'm saying I don't accept that.
But we are doing the best we can.
How you know that? Tell me how you know that.
As far as I'm concerned, we are doing the best we can.
You said that based on what? Seeing that every single year. Hold on. Every single year, there are reports of wastage of millions of government dollars in all kinds of areas. On what possible basis are you telling me we're doing the best we can?
If are the athletes, other people are left behind.
I'm saying you cannot say that because we have no structured development plan in place.
Well, I am looking on this on a broad basis, and I don't see how we can single out athletes.
Okay.
To give them millions and while other people just barely getting by, can't buy food.
Got you.
You know, I never go in bed hungry one night yet.
Well, I don't know what you know about the man life.
No.
You don't know nothing about the man life, but he has a right to speak out.
My voice are hungry right
Yes,
now.
but he has a right to speak out. I'm going to let you go though. I'm trying to squeeze in another caller.
All right, yeah.
Yeah, man, take care. Lance also in Portmore. Lance, what's on your mind, sir? Lance?
I totally disagree with you about the Asafa point.
And that's completely right, but tell me why it is you disagree.
No, Asafa is one of those persons. Remember, how Jamaica athletics is, where you are only seen mainly when you're the boys' champs. So at least Stephen Francis, a man, Stephen Francis saw Asafa and decided to develop his talent, and he make millions out of it. Give the country a little credit, give people a little credit, and stop behave like a spoiled brat and never become a person.
Oh, so because he says, I believe I should have earned more throughout my career and the country should have helped me more, he's acting like a spoiled brat?
Yeah, but remember, it's an individual sport where you use your talent to make your money.
Yes.
And that's what he did.
Yes, but the whole owner love get up and make noise when athletes doing well and when athletes are representing the country and black, green and gold.
But that is our support.
So that's all. We must clap and everybody go about them business.
We must clap and we must tell you when time you're not perform.
Yeah, so you want cuss them, you cuss them rotten when you don't want cuss them. You clap and then everybody go in yard and do not turn around and ask for anything in terms of support and development.
Ball got it and you send ball skin thick and him go through.
You that is the worst example you could have chosen.
It's the best example.
Absolutely the worst example. You chose a complete outlier. Bolt is a complete outlier. There's no way you can use what happened in Bolt's life to try to make an argument for athletes as a whole. But Lance, you have to call me back another time. Time done.
Okay.
Call me back though. Appreciate the call. Enjoy the conversation. All right. Have to leave it there, folks. I'm out of time. Thank you so much for being here with us. And as always, we ask you to come back to us tomorrow. Is this a message? Okay, hold on. One message of support. Patsy in Spanish Town says, Safa can do no wrong by me. He's the one who taught the world. It's not a crime to take on the big bad USA. More can and should be done for our athletes. I prefer my tax dollars be spent there, not on cake. Keep talking yourself. Change will come. Come back to us tomorrow, people. I'm Dion Jacksmill on behalf of the team, producer Camille Williams, production assistant Kemon White. Have an awesome evening. Stay safe. Give thanks.
This is your Radio Jamaica.
It is now 7:31 on Radio Jamaica, and it is now time for the JIS Jamaica magazine, which is presented in time, allotted for government broadcast.
I'm Joy Kelly with JIS Evening News for Monday, April 28. Coming up, some primary level students to benefit from timetabled reading, appropriate court cases to be live streamed, and Montego-based step-up program going well. The news in detail after the break.
When I got my first traffic ticket, I forgot to pay it within 30 days, and I had to go to court. Thank God I went, because if I didn't show, I would have been arrested. Pay your